excited all of you guys are here. I am very passionate about what we do at Healthy Kids Pediatrics. We focus a whole lot more on holistic approaches to really common diseases, and we are very concerned about how many really chronic toxic things that our kids are exposed to. And we're going to just touch on a lot of that tonight. We're going to sort of touch on how to be healthier this winter without the use of a lot of medications, because there is another way. There are other ways to treat illnesses, and I didn't grow up doing what I do now. I've been practicing for 15 years, going on 15 years, but the first 10 years was a very traditional practice, very much about drugs, procedures, very much about Band-Aid fixes for diseases. And it wasn't until I had breast cancer, until I had 9 neck and back surgeries, that I sort of realized that there is another way, and opened my mind to a lot of the things that I talk about now. And use places like this. My church here is just wonderful enough to have me and have this be a platform for me to sort of share some of my ideas and get kids healthier. So with that, we're going to get started. Let's face it, our kids are growing up in a world that is more toxic than ever. It presents special challenges to the immune system to detox and to stay healthy in all of that. Some of the toxic exposures that our kids are facing include the plastics in bottles, like the BPA, highly processed food diets, all the hydrogenated fats in the high fructose corn syrup, all the refined sugars, the artificial sweeteners, the artificial colorings, all these things that our kids are exposed to in the foods that honestly, when we were growing up, just did not seem to be such a big part of. There's a very aggressive vaccination schedule that our kids are being exposed to. In the 80s, there were 8 vaccines given in the first 2 years, and now they're up to 32, all as important as the doctor says are important. Environmental toxins and industrial pollutants. You hear about things all the time in the news about how polluted our society is, and how the ozone alert days and the yellow or the orange alert days that our kids are exposed to. All of these exposures take a toll on the developing fragile immune system, and limiting those exposures is a key factor in raising a healthier child. So the benefits of a type of practice like Healthy Kids, we consider ourselves an integrative pediatric practice. That means that we take traditional approaches and alternative approaches, and we kind of merge them all together to figure out what is best for your child, not based on a protocol, not based on somebody telling us that this is how it's been done forever. Traditional medicine does not address a lot of these things like chronic diseases. It ignores the body's capacity to actually cure itself. And so many of the things that are prescribed frankly, ignore the immune system and just treat it with a drug to say this is the cure for X, Y, and Z. So our out-of-the-box thinking provides basically a broader base to draw on to help somebody. It might be chiropractic, it might be naturopathic, it might be holistic in whatever way, but holistic basically means that we take the whole immune system into account when we make any recommendations for you or for your child. So with that in mind, we're going to talk about some of the most common illnesses that I see in the winter, because on all of our hearts is, you have someone in school, you get called, they have 103 fever, you're losing work, you're losing work hours, you're now having to take care of a sick kid at home, and you're rushing to the pediatric office. In my traditional practice of yesteryear, I would, say, here's your cold medicine, you'll be fine, do some nasal saline injection. But as of recently, you've seen that all of those cold medicines got taken off the market because they have been deemed unsafe in kids. So now what? You have the same cold but you still have no more tools in your toolbox to make them healthier if you rely on just the traditional medical approach to disease in the way you treat your child. So at Healthy Kids, we have merged a lot of the alternative sort of approaches to keeping kids healthy, to get them through that cold, using tools like immune boosters, tools like optimizing your vitamin D levels, tools like minimizing milk during the time that you have a respiratory illness. And we're going to go over some of those in detail later. So immune boosters, what are they and how do they work? They are basically things that could be herbal, they could be homeopathic, they could just be really good immune stimulating sort of vitamins in supplements. That would be like vitamin C, for example, or vitamin D. And these immune boosters are basically, they fight the invader or the viral illness, either by giving, like homeopathics, giving the body the essence of the disease in very minute amounts, or like the herbals that actually have immune boosting properties. Okay, and we'll go over those in just a minute. First, I thought it was interesting that it's not just a coincidence that kids are the most unhealthy during the season of October through February that happens to coincide with Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and Valentine's Day. Those are the times of year that we have the most amount of sugar that is being pushed on our kids through all of the candy that they get at school parties to trick-or-treating. And it is a very known fact that sugar suppresses your immune system. I had some interesting comments on Mercola.com website. It came from the Lick the Sugar Habit by Nancy Appleton. It is a list of 76 reasons that sugar suppresses your immune system and is not healthy for you. And I highlighted a few of them I wanted to share. Sugar can suppress your immune system and impair your defense against infectious diseases. That's a fact. Sugar can cause a rapid rise in adrenaline, hyperactivity, anxiety, and difficulty concentrating, and crankiness in kids. We know that well when they have that good old piece of candy with red dye in it, and then they're going bonkers the rest of the afternoon. Sugar can cause your saliva to become acidic, creating tooth decay. Sugar greatly assists the uncontrolled growth of candida, which we all hear about a lot in the news. Sugar can interfere with your absorption of proteins, can cause food allergies, can contribute to eczema in children, can reduce the learning capacity and adverse affect school children's grades, and cause learning disorders. Thought that was interesting. Sugar can cause an increase in delta, alpha, and theta brain waves, which can alter your mind's ability to think clearly. Sugar can cause depression. Diets high in sugar will increase free radicals and oxidative stress. So the list goes on and on. Sugar is an addictive substance. Thought that was interesting. Sugar can be intoxicating, similar to alcohol. Decrease in sugar intake can increase emotional stability. Sugar can worsen the symptoms of children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And sugar can slow down the ability of your adrenal glands to function. So this is just a very small number of highlighted reasons that sugar is bad for you. So we're going to talk more specifically about sort of inject some common sense into what you are learning about the flu, H1N1, swine flu, whatever you want to call it. We have seen, starting in the summertime, we had several cases, sort of random cases of H1N1 that is a flu A, H1N1 sort of disease. It has caused mild illness in most children that have normal immune systems. There have been several deaths that have been broadcast on the news that has very much scared a lot of us. And I guess what I can tell you is that I can't know what those children's vitamin D levels were. I can't tell you what their diet was or what if they had a chronic illness. I don't know that I would feel comfortable just putting my eggs in one basket and just giving Tamiflu to somebody who is as sick as that. If you don't address, in my opinion, their whole immune system, how is one thing like Tamiflu that has resistance, how is that going to actually cure them of the disease any more than, say, the antivirals that I have chosen to embrace? And so I wanted to sort of share with you a different type of protocol that we have found extremely successful. We've had multiple kids in the last couple of weeks, all with the flu. Of course, we can't confirm if it's H1N1 anymore because it's an expensive test, and basically they're saying only hospitalized kids can have that done. So if we assume that it's H1N1 because it's a very contagious disease, we started in the summer seeing some cases, then everyone started school, so everyone's sharing the same virus, and we're in Texas, so the fact that I don't think that we would be seeing the regular flu A that we usually see later in the season when it sort of marches down from the north and works its way down here. So if we assume all these type A cases are H1N1, assuming that they are mild diseases, then we can look at the recommendations of the CDC that basically says their updated recommendations are do not do Tamiflu in kids unless they are less than 2 or unless they have a chronic disease or an underlying medical problem. So I find that interesting because what I hear rampant in the community is that every person going to the ER is getting Tamiflu. And every person going to their doctor's office is getting Tamiflu, and so are the siblings, and so are the parents. But yet every year we run out of Tamiflu. Now, if we adhere to this protocol, then what else is there to treat them with? What our office embraces and really has had a whole lot more success in is using homeopathic, the #1 homeopathic flu remedy, which is oscillococcinum. If you can say it, that's half of the battle. Oscillo for short has been out for 65 years. It is used all across 50 countries. It is used all over Europe, especially France. It was designed by a French scientist. And using that as part of our protocol, I had Boron, which is the company that makes it, gave me the research, because when I looked on the internet, I said, whoa, I don't see any really good supportive studies for me to say this is what we recommend. So I did some more research. It came to find out, and the research is back there on the table, it's 63% effective all by itself in eliminating symptoms of the flu in 1 day up to 2 days. If you then add the other parts of our protocol to treat the flu that are also found on my website, you add vitamin D and you add an immune booster, you are then supporting your body in all ways to fight this virus. Elderberry, I've seen lots of studies on the internet to support elderberry use as an antiviral. It stops the virus from replicating at the very onset of the illness. So to me, these are very natural things to do to get through the flu season if you get the flu. And we'll talk about prevention in just a second. So I mentioned vitamin D. Vitamin D aids in many, many processes in your body. It is sort of the new wonder, sort of vitamin that is one of my favorites now. So this is a short list of things that it helps in. Aids in cell differentiation. It actually inhibits the uncontrolled proliferation of cells.